Land Before Time for the Game Boy Advance. Challenge is simple. Avoid these green things. Let's just get on with this. Hi, B from the future. I'm just interjecting to say hello, my fellow entities of the interwebs. I am Generic Mystic, and can you be to the Land Before Time for the Game Boy Advance without collecting any tree stars? Starting out in the desert. Oh. Well, the run is impossible. Thanks for watching. Alright. With an extremely well-timed jump, this is possible, but the very next obstacle is not. Well, run is impossible. Thanks for watching. Fine. I won't just end it off here. We just need to rebrand this run. Yeah, that's all we need to do. What is the minimum number of tree stars needed to beat the game? Add one to the counter, and let's move on. We can maneuver ourselves through this platform and over the symmetrical line of leaves, leaving us to travel on our own accord until we reach here. I don't think I need to really mention how that even if we could get past the first set of tree stars, the run would die here, but I might as well point out any dissenting views on my verdict for the type of run we are doing. Anyhow, our hitbox is too large for a single tree star, so for us, precisely positioned jumping will have us collect 2 more, but thankfully, no more than that. Afterwards, it is a simple platforming challenge with a bit of a blind jump, but then we reach the end of the first level with a total count of 3. On to the second level, we see the common holding with the level design of this game. Follow the arrows. On the first playthrough, you will almost certainly have to follow the arrows to even have a chance of navigating these messes of platform spikes and whatnot. Even then, the arrows aren't the most helpful things in the world, leaving you to wander around half the time anyways. As for playing the level, our jaunt continues until we reach here, which requires an extremely tight jump to land on the edge of this platform, but it can be lined up consistently with enough practice. After that, we climb up some more, jump some gaps, and make it to the end. The third level is something, so those arrows, ignore them. Jump over to the first group of tree stars and land on the right side of the platform. Then drop down onto the skeleton, and then once more a ways below to the long stretch of ground. From there, follow the arrows and you will have an easy trip to the finish. As for the boss, the Scorpisaur? Just beat it and then jump over the large tree star at the end of the level and you'll be done with the first world. Time for World 2, the Smelly Swamp. We drop right in and... hold left. We then spend a lot of time platforming across the many tree branches that litter the world, with plenty of precise jumps to make us squirm with how close we get to some of the tree stars. After getting to the checkpoint, we get to this blind jump, which just, do what I did. Leap off from this branch once, and hold right, and you should land safely below. Some more platforming later, we leap over this length of 5 across the gaps and clear the level. The next level is straightforward enough, minus the blind jumps of course. Nothing much to say here, so let's move on to the third level, and oh my goodness, it appears we need to hold left again because they just weren't content doing it to us once. Now were they? As for the level itself, climb up where you can, and when you reach this golden tree star, get ready for a somewhat awful jump. So, by hopping over and holding right, we fall into the water and die. Big whoop, oh well. But when we realize that tree stars line the path below, it gives us only one good option. Land on the bug enemy and bounce off to close the gap. You will need to hold the jump button when landing for additional vertical height, but it'll allow you to grab the checkpoint. Later on into the level, we reach a stretch of tree stars that is impossible to get over. Sadly, we can't go under as there are no reachable platforms. This means that for us, 2 more tree stars have to be added to the counter. Whoopee! After that, we get the visually noisy waterfalls that can partially block the view of enemies and collectibles, but thankfully we can jump over anything in the water this time. However, this extremely precise jump after the fact is less than ideal. Some attempts later, and we can clear it and make it to the next checkpoint. Now comes the Waterfall Nightmare Zone. I feel like I don't need to explain why this is extremely irritating to navigate at all, but it can be done directly into a 6-wide tree star line. I'm fine. While a bit of a running start is needed to clear something as large as this, with extremely precise jumping, which, mind you, is very difficult to line up with the waterfall in the way, we can climb the tree branches, land on solid ground, hop across the pond with another insect bounce, and complete the level. Boss is as easy as normal, just don't collect the gold tree star at the end and you'll be fine. Tall Mountains time. The first level brings a lot of platforming until it brings us to this horrid mass of tree stars. Now, I think I can firmly say that going over is definitely out of the question. So where does that leave us? Obviously, going under the stage because some of the walls have collision and some don't. I love old games made out of duct tape and love. Just make sure you don't double jump too early or you'll hit an invisible ceiling and fall to your doom. After that comes more vertical platforming and then the end of the level. Woo. The next level brings us a long vertical trek up the mountain. Be sure to grab the checkpoints along the way and... continue climbing. Just a little bit later on will give us this mildly tricky combination of platforming, which our slippery little feet could amplify, so be careful there. At the end comes a tight jump to get up to the goal, but this isn't as bad as the swamp, so don't worry too much. As for the third level, it's mostly standard, honestly. The level isn't even that long compared to the other two. The most difficult obstacle here is the line of 5 tree stars, but really, at this point, it's old news. I hate this boss. It took 4 minutes. It isn't hard. The hitbox for the boss is terrible. How bad? I nearly took 2 lives to beat this thing. If you do win, though, there are no tree stars to collect, so this is a given for the sake of the challenge. The fourth world is a short one. Welcome to the Dark Cavern. The general route of the first level is to fall down to the bottom, so just take care when dropping to not collect any inconveniently placed tree stars that may be in the way. If you stay to the rightmost part of the level, though, you'll have no trouble with potentially falling into a bottomless pit. Overall, this is one of the easiest levels of the run, by far. The second level of this world is essentially an easier version of the swamp levels, with overall wider platforms and less collectibles. Just like with before, take care to not fall onto any tree stars. Other than that, this level is also really easy. As for the Spider Dawn? Really? The texture freaks out as well. Just don't be bad and you'll be fine. Just like with the last boss, there are no golden tree stars to obtain. Welcome to the final world, the Burning Mountain. Some of the toughest, and by toughest I mean highest HP, enemies reside here, so be alert. This arrow here says for us to go down, but instead we will stick up as high as we can. Sure, it might be a bit more difficult, but more options are better for us. Keep going on, and when you get to this platform, jump over to the tree star and hold right, falling until you drop directly onto the goal. The second level starts off with an annoyingly spaced line of tree stars, so bouncing off the large bug for additional distance is preferred for safety, like in the swamp. After that comes some blind jumps like the many before in our journey, followed by another large insect jump that we fail, but then realize, oh wait, we're at the end of the level. The final level is, challenge run or not, the hardest level in the game. So, the screen is scrolling up, and there are two obstacle types that can harm us, neither of which are tree stars, thankfully. The first is fire jets, which don't deal much damage, but can be a little annoying. The other are these burning rocks, which...
Excuse me?
So, the collision box on these things are atrociously large, and they also hit through invincibility frames, and they also one-shot you and become nearly impossible to react to later on in the level. What the heck? Assuming you are great at dodging and or have enough lives saved up, you can make it through and beat the game. Heck yeah! So now we answer the question in proper. Can you beat the Land Before Time, Game Boy Advance, without collecting tree stars? Well, obviously not. We have 5 forced upon us in the first 2 worlds, which are arguably the only difficult parts of the entire run. Sorry to disappoint, but hey, this video was rather short, so let's do another challenge run to pad for time. What do we have in the old ideas box? Oh, here's a good one. Can you beat the Land Before Time, Game Boy Advance, without taking damage or increasing your score? Silly old past me. We can't do this. We already proved it isn't possible. Wait, hold on. There's a note scribbled here in the margin. Password? Okay, what about a password? Okay. I think I can manage this. Back to the final level, and there is a funny little trick we can do. Follow this pattern of where to be. Stay to the right at the start after the first geyser, go to the left after the second, go back to the right after that geyser, quickly move to the leftmost side of the screen to avoid the geyser in the first burning rock. After the third burning rock, run over to the right side of the screen. After passing the geyser, go back to the left side of the screen. Once the screen scroll starts speeding up, run to the right to avoid the geyser and the burning rock, and then back to the left to wait out the rest of the ride up. From there, we launch out of the volcano and prove, yes, it is possible, given we use a password, of course. Alright, credits. Yeah, I got nothing. Yeah, there really isn't anything documented for this game, and I didn't really use anything that there could have been on the internet, so really this was me just doing something fun for the channel. The only credit that I could give is that, yeah, music. It's the game soundtrack. I ripped it myself, and by ripped it I mean I just recorded a black screen of each world for like 12 minutes.
Why did I do this?
To all of you who watched, I thank you for staying through with my garbage. For a shortened run, we get shortened obligatories. Like, comment, subscribe, bell, and all that funny fun stuff. I have been Generic Mystic, and one last time, I thank you for watching.